This is Professor Needing, and what I want to talk about is how to use our calculator to get some quantitative number statistics, okay, and some descriptive statistics of that nature. So things like mean, median, mode, quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3, some other values that we're going to need. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clear my calculator. Remember, you'll be able to watch my keystrokes at the bottom of what I do in order to follow along. So first thing I'm going to just clear everything I have. First thing we're going to do is we're going to start by making sure the lists in our calculator are clear. And this is something you normally want to do if you have data in your calculator and not quite sure. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go to the memory function. So I'm going to go to second, plus sign. I'm going to scroll down to number 4, which is clear all lists, because the lists are where we're going to put our numbers. I'm going to hit enter, and I have to hit enter one more time in order to execute the command. You have to get a done signal. So what this tells me is my list will be clear. Okay, well, the question is, where are my lists? The stat button right here is where my lists are located. So I'm going to do a single click on the stat button. When it opens, I have 3 choices: edit, calculate, and test. Currently, I want to be in edit, and I want to choose number 1, the edit feature. So you can see I have what we refer to as list 1, list 2, list 3, list 4, list 5, and there's a list 6 over here off the screen. I just cleared any data that was in these lists. We're going to enter a series of numbers into list number 1, and then we're going to run our calculations. Now, these numbers are just random, and they're not going to be in order. So let's enter a 25, put in a 32, let's put in a 16, let's put in, I don't know, an 88. Let's go back to a 7, and let's put in a 14, and let's end with a 50. If you need to edit any of these numbers, you can just simply get on top of that number. So for instance, maybe 88 was supposed to be 98 or 78 or 68. So let's make it 68 just because and hit enter. And so you can see that those numbers are changed. Pause the video for a minute. Make sure you have all the same numbers I have and then come back. Okay, so hopefully you have those numbers. And now what we're going to do is we're going to quit this screen. So I'm going to go to second, and I'm going to go to mode button, which is quit. Again, follow along in the bottom if you need to know where I am. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to do something with that list. If I want to see that list again, I would hit stat, edit number 1, and there's my list. But again, I told you to quit, so let's go ahead and quit. This time we're going to go to the stat button, same place we were, but this time we're going to scoot over to where it says calculate. We're going to choose number 1, which is 1 variable statistics. And we're going to point it to list number 1. Now, if I needed to change to list number 2 or list number 3, you can notice that those are number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on your keyboard, but they're second functions. So for instance, if I wanted L2, I would hit second number 2, changing that to an L2. But I don't. My data is in list number 1, so I'll go back to second number 1. The frequency means nothing to you right now. Calculate is where you want to be. Get on top of calculate, hit the enter button, and watch the magic happen. X bar is your mean, 30.2857149. The sum of all the x's in your number are 212. You don't really need to worry too much about the sum of x squares. This SX is your standard deviation for the sample. And this right here we'll refer to later. This is the standard deviation of the population. N is 7. That means I had 7 numbers that I had inside of that set. The minimum number that I put in the list is 7. When you scroll down further, you will see quartile 1. Quartile 1 we'll talk more about, which is a box and whisker. You need it for that. Quartile 1 is 14. The median of the data set is 25. Quartile 3 is 50, and the maximum number that I had in that list was 68. Again, in order to run this, if I quit and I got out, stat, calculate, 1 variable statistic, make sure you have the proper list calculated, hit calculate, and let the fun begin. Hopefully this is helpful, and I will be doing 2 number statistics in a different variation or a different video.